Episode 69. And I'm feeling fine. Here we go, folks. Let's do it. Happy Wednesday! Come on in. And vinyl. What's up, people? Happy Wednesday. We got a crowd in here. Wow, the chatter in here is already fun. I was a little excited about today's episode. Let me get set up here. Boop, here we go. Happy Wednesday. William, what's up, buddy? Eric, Lanny, Dan P, Andrew Harmon, what's up, buddy? Awesome. Who else is in here? John, Corey. This is going to be fun, folks. Come on in. The group is building. My name's Cardone. This is Evening Hour, episode 69. And it's live. If you're watching this live, we have a chat. If you see the chat, you will see that it's very busy. I got a busy group in here. And not only that, there's games in the chat. So you can play games. If you read the description under the show, down here, you will see the rules for the game and some of the stuff that's involved. Here we go. Who's in here? Sherman's in here. Oh, Tony Hawk. Peter's in here. Oh, yeah, a lot of people jumped in here quick. Okay, so somebody mentioned Bones Brigade. Yes, I remember Bones Brigade. Are you kidding me? Rodney Mullen? When I was a kid, he was my fave. I like the freestyle guys. I mean, Tony Hawk and all those guys are cool, but Rodney Mullen? My gosh. 69, dude. If you're new to the channel, hit that stupid subscribe button. Trying to get to 1,000 ain't easy, but it's going there. Yes, Dan P. Oh, cool. Here, let me put this down. I'm sending out a lot of mystery boxes. And wait till you see what I'm sending out on Friday. Or the prize for Friday. It's going to be a really cool t-shirt. Who else is in here? Eric? Cool. Excellent. Yeah, Rodney was uncannily better than any other human ever, and still kind of is when it comes to freestyle skateboarding. If you watch him now as a older guy, he's still like, people don't come close. Oh yeah, cool. Joaquim Kula. Check it out. Yeah, you're live. Chat. I like it when people chat. All right, let me get my notes out. I have a lot to say. I am a little frazzled today, even though I'm excited about doing the show, because this afternoon I was doing a live show for a middle school, high school in Brooklyn. And, oh, thank you. Clownvis pen. Ordered on Clownvis's website. Clownvis rules. Yeah, so I'm outside. So I get to the gig, and I got to fill out a mound of paperwork for the COVID stuff. And I'm outside, so I go through, fill it out. And when I get outside, there's already some bizarre stuff going on. The kids are on the other side of the, massive schoolyard. And they're like on one end, and they didn't want me to set up my show until they moved out. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Nobody knows what's going on with the COVID rules. It's very inconsistent. People are confused. Sometimes when people don't know if it's confusing and contradictory, They just go, I don't want to deal with it anymore. I'm a little like that for some of these things. So I'm like, okay, but I have to set up. I can't like set up right before the show. Okay, cool. So they let me set up. Then the one of the liaisons to the school wanted me to wear a mask while I performed outside in 90-degree weather. The kids are way far away, and they wanted me to wear a mask, and I'm like, I can't. I'm going to be doing a straitjacket escape. You're going to have to call the ambulance. So, yeah, I wish Zoom would have been easier. And I have 15 Zoom school shows coming up soon. It's crazy. So, anywho, I am doing the show, and it is... So when you do I basically don't like doing outdoor magic shows. I don't mind mingling, but if I have to do a formal show, unless it's in an amphitheater set up for outdoor performing, I'm not into it. But, you know, times are tough these days. I'm taking work. So, whenever you do an outdoor show, the sun's either in the audience's eyes or in the entertainer's eyes. Which is better? Which is better? Clearly in the entertainer's eyes. Because the audience, if they can't see you, they won't pay attention. At least I can fake it. So this show, it was right there. It was like, oh. So I have a little bit of one of those, like, what do you call them? Heat headaches. You want to be my roadie? I did have some roadies today. I have agents that book me out, and they sent 2 guys to assist, which makes it a little, not a little easier, a lot easier. For them, it's an easy job. I have had hired roadies before. Yeah, it's insane, Peter. It's basically 2 things. A, people are really scared still. Or B, they're doing it to show you whose team they're on, which is, at this point, silly. Yeah, the flip-flopping of the rules doesn't help the case. I'm a fan of if somebody, an authority, wants me to do something, but they're not sure why, I would rather them say to me, I don't really know, but we're thinking this because of these reasons. That's not what's going on. People are like, you have to do this. And then you go, but that doesn't make sense. And they go, yes, it does. And you go, no, it doesn't. And then the story keeps changing. Hey, Mama. What's up, Mama? My mom's in the house. So, yeah. It's absurd, but whatever. I'm following her around. And they are booking, it went well enough that they are booking me again next week. So, cheers to that. Cheers to Trio Entertainment, too, for hooking me up. Thank you, Trio. Yeah, my mama likes some of these. Even though my mom disagrees with me on some of the atheist stuff, she likes the chat, which is what I respect. What else? Yeah, Friday I'm going to be giving away sick t-shirt. Oh, is there a lunar eclipse tonight or what? Oh, one more thing. If this channel gets cut, give it a minute. There's a massive thunderstorm happening. And when that happens, sometimes the power gets cut. Here, I live on the beach. We have crazy storms out here. They're so crazy that they're kind of fun to go sit in the porch and watch them. They literally look like it's like something out of a movie. You know, the black clouds and the lightning and the wind, and it's kind of cool. Well, this is our first pandemic. Yeah, I guess it is. Wow. Yeah, it's been a wacky year. One of the other things that's a little weird is the origin of the pandemic. And I'm trying to keep away from this stuff because it draws political lines, which is stupid. But I knew last year that it was coming from a man-made place. And they were pulling posts that even mentioned it last year. You weren't allowed to talk about it. If you told me 10 years ago you weren't allowed to discuss things on public forums because it might, you know, it's just like, it's so bad that you can't discuss. Censorship for me in any way, shape, or form, even if it's false news, is bad. Don't like it. And so, you weren't allowed to criticize China for doing some fishy stuff, and there's mounds of evidence now. And there's not only that, there's mounds of evidence. It looks like they were trying to keep their mouths shut for certain reasons. On our side, not that side. Here's the weird one. John Cena, the pro wrestler, just made an apology to China and his Chinese fans for saying that Taiwan is a country. Excuse me? Taiwan's a country, folks. It's its own country. They have their own passport, their own money, their own bank. They have their own military. And our country, doesn't recognize them. And now, if you're in a public format, like I worked for Disney or YouTube, dare I say, I'm in here now, you're not allowed to criticize a foreign government or support a government because of the money kickbacks. This is absurd, folks. I don't mean to rant here, but whoa, what world is this? The NBA guys had to make apologies too because China's a big market now. You can't step on any toes. Boo. I'm out. When I see people apologizing for saying something about Taiwan, you are now not my friend. That is absurd. I think I'm going to do, I might do Friday's episode on Taiwan. And the only reason why I would do that is A, I'm going to talk about this a little bit, but B, I've been there. I was there for 3 months, and it's a beautiful country. I will say it right now. The Taiwanese people are the nicest people I've ever met traveling, ever. Really, just a cool group of people. So, is my belt coming undone? There we go. Yeah, so that's a little rant there. But yeah, the John Cena thing, apologize. What? We're living in a country now where you're not allowed to criticize China or Israel or there's certain, it's just weird. Anywho. Yeah, the brown-nosing stuff is dangerous. Looks like they're going to be running our show soon, Yeah, it's a little disheartening that, to me, criticizing and saying things and discourse and that's all we have. Yeah, what's with this lunar eclipse? Super flower blood moon, says William. Wow. Okay, so what's going on? Oh, South Park made fun. Well, South Park will make fun of it until the channel threatens them. Oh yeah. Tony Hawk's story. I'm going to read Dan P's Tony Hawk story, and then we're going to get into my subject. I bounced at the Trocadero in the early 2000s. Cool venue. I got to play there a few times. Summer X Games were in Philly. Private X Games party at the Troc. Tony Hawk was there. People were crowding. Yeah, I mean, he's famous. He's a heavy hitter. In the world of sports and coolness, he's definitely cool. Oh, he's writing more here. While he's writing, I'm going to check something. Let me check. Oh, here we go. He went up to him, Dan P., and he said that he was in the police academy 4. He said, I am also the world's best skater. I say, never heard of you, but you were great in Police Academy 4. He actually said he's the world's best skater. That's weird. Whenever I meet people that say stuff like that, it had better be with a wink. Speaking of the world's greatest, I was at Throdini's house yesterday. We were celebrating his appearance on Game of Talents. He was on last night with Svetlana, his assistant girl, and they were on the show. So we got to watch. He taped it in November, and then he had a little backyard barbecue. And if you watched my interview with him, I mean, I've seen his serial killer stuff, but I got to see it again, and it's just like, I think my favorite thing he has is his check signed by Carlo Gambino. By far. I thought that was kind of cool. Oh, you did. You got to play there too, Eric Carr. Yeah. The Troc is a cool venue. I don't remember who I played there with. I really don't. It's been a while. Okay. If you're new, hit the stupid like and subscribe, and I'm going to start this. Lil Wayne also brags about his skating? Lil Wayne, the rap guy? Wow. I saw him on the streets of Brooklyn last year, before COVID, like in the fall, I think. All right, let me turn this down. Okay. Let's talk about tonight's subject. I am a fan of atheist chats, and tonight, episode 69, Poly-Atheist or Bi-Agnostical. That's a cool band name, Eric. The Curse of Sorrow. Ooh, gosh. Yeah, that's a cool band name. I dig it. It's got a, it's kind of harsh. I like it. Okay. Poly-Atheist. I purposely, if you didn't notice, made it sound slightly sexual just because it's episode 69. I was trying to come up with some topic that involved humanity and sex and our basal ganglia brain having the functions of fight, F-word, flee, friend, or indifference. But I thought, Lilith Malone in the house. Hello to you and your significant other. How are you all? Cheers. Agnostic front? Yeah. So, polyatheism. What the heck is that? It's something new for me to even chew on. And I've been chewing on it. Polyatheism. The notion that if you are an atheist, where are you coming from? What world do you live in? What came before you? And what is your... When you're born, obviously, we're wired for a certain thing, and then we're taught a certain thing. And not only are we taught a certain thing, the world has something going on already. So you're obviously going to be influenced by that. So when I say polyatheism, I'm referring to the fact that ancient people who were like, I don't know if I believe in this stuff, most of them were coming from a polytheistic world. Very few monotheistic religions at the time. Way less, especially in the pagan cultures. Oh, yes. So, hold on. I'm going to pause that. Talon just said that. The pandemic and the Hong Kong protests. I have friends that are over there in Hong Kong, and they were like, protests? Done. They were like, the COVID thing wiped it out. Anywho, that's a whole nother subject. And when I say bi-agnostical, we're going to get into that a little later, because I want to talk a little bit about, well, we'll talk about it now. I need to talk about agnosticism a bit. And I say this a lot on the show, and I need to say it a bunch of times because most people don't understand these terms, what they mean, and I would really like to go over them. So let's stay with polyatheists for a second. When I think of somebody coming from a polytheistic background, I'm thinking of the notion that polytheism, having lots of gods with lots of attributes, there's room for error. The gods, it would seem, especially the Greek and the Roman gods, they weren't perfect. Oh, the Indian gods too. They weren't perfect. It was kind of like a soap opera, a comic book of sorts. And, you know, they were like our Christian deity fornicating with humans. And fornicating with each other, and there was incest and bloodshed and treachery, and I mean, it's like a romance novel meets a horror film meets a comic book. And that's the world that people were living in. And to me, polytheism as opposed to monotheism, there's a big difference in the vibe, in how you view the other. And when I mean the other, I mean when someone shows up with a new truth or idea. When someone shows up with a new idea and you have a totalitarian idea, problem. This is my problem with monotheism. I remember I was having a debate in Washington Square Park in Manhattan with my ventriloquist dummy. What's up, Darla? And Dan P. and Ashworth. That's good. Oh, okay, now you get it. Yeah, no one got it. That's why I wrote the title. So I'm having a debate in the park with a ventriloquist dummy and a very religious Christian girl from the Midwest on a mission to New York City. And she said to me, how can there be another truth if I only believe in one truth? And I was like, end of discussion. You just said it. You're right. If you have one truth that you believe in as fact and truth and everything, there really isn't room for another one. And to me, that's a version of totalitarian spiritualism. My way or the highway. One way or suffer forever. That's it. It's very simple. Sounds a little bit like North Korea. In religion form. That's my opinion. If there's a Christian in the house, please explain that so I don't see it as such. But it definitely seems like that. Oh, the sun came back to the world because of a strip tease. I love it. So, polytheism, to me, it's got breathing room. And I remember in college, or not college, I don't know where, if it was high school or college, I was in a class where we were talking about the Mongols invading everywhere. And how when they got to India, they conquered, but they didn't have to. It just kind of fit in. Like the warrior class that showed up, the Indians were like, yeah, we have warrior classes and we have lots of gods and it's all good. Like they were able to adapt to certain things because they have lots of gods. And they're used to seeing people do things different ways. Like, oh, so-and-so focuses on that, or so-and-so focuses on that deity. Kind of like how Catholics naturally do the same thing with saints. Why is that? Because we naturally want to have polytheistic things, or because it's like we either naturally want to do that with God. Like if you say there's only one God, it's like, cool. And then your brain goes, yeah, but there's angels and there's the lesser God, but the one boss God. That's what most of these are. Do we do that naturally? Do we want things naturally to be polytheistic? Maybe. Well, a monotheist would be what we are today if you're an atheist. We're coming from a monotheistic background. One God, one this, one heavy. Basically, it's one dude. What do we call him? Shem. The Jewish God name. Because the boss god of the Jewish religion is the boss god of Christianity and Islam. He's the boss. That's where we're coming from. So if you're an atheist, we don't have to go, I don't know if I believe in that Zeus guy. We don't have to do that. We're basically talking about Shem. And I love the old saying, and you've all probably heard this, everybody watching this that's a theistic person and believes in God is also an atheist. The dispersion of accountability. I like this. Stratification. Yeah. Everybody who believes in God's also an atheist. They're an atheist to all the other deities, except for one. Somebody like me, I'm an atheist to just one more extra. That's it. The same way they look at Zeus and all the others, I do the same thing. Whenever somebody goes, well, it's different though, Zeus didn't run around in historical context, now we have a discussion. Because I will debate that there was no such thing as Jesus, ever. All early references to Jesus were in vision and not reality. Ephemerized God, as it's called. Celestial being plopped into historical context. So that's my poly-atheist, mono-atheist. Now, let's talk about what atheist means and what Gnostic means. And we got theistic Gnostic, theistic agnostic, theistic No, atheist, agnostic, and atheist gnostic. Blah, 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 blah. Genghis Khan allowed freedom of religion in his society. Wow. You know what? That might have been one of his things that made him successful. Really. He might have realized that everybody needs to kind of do their own way and not use a God figure as threat of punishment. We need this as the one way. Yeah. That was, I don't know who said that. Dawkins, Harris. One of those guys said that. Like, literally every religious person that believes in God they all are atheists too. They're atheistic to all the other gods. And it's weird because if you read the Old Testament, it's clear that they didn't believe in one God. Thou shalt not have any other gods before me. If I was the supreme being and there was only one and none of the other ones were real, that's not what I would say. That doesn't make any sense. I would say, they're all fake. I'm the real one, folks. Now, the rebuttal is, well, that's your interpretation of that. Sure, you could say that. You'd never hear this on NPR. You don't hear a lot on NPR these days. So let's talk about it. What's an atheist? Atheist is referring to non-theistic belief. It means I don't believe in a God. Gnostic doesn't have anything to do with belief. It has to do with knowledge. When I was a little kid, this is what I thought. I thought that atheist meant you don't believe in God, but agnostic meant I believe in God, but I don't really know what it is. That's totally what I thought. And I finally realized that those are two different things. I would call myself an atheist agnostic. Here it is. Is there a God? I don't know. How would I know that? I mean, do you believe there's a God? No, I do not believe that there's a deity. I like the word deity. I don't like God. Because a lot of people interpret the word God in a very loose manner. So for instance, is there a God? Let's go to the Gnostic part, meaning knowledge. Is there a God? I've got 5 senses here, folks. I smell, touch, hear, see, look around, right? I am a dot on a rock floating in the biggest, vast universe. We do know how big things can get. We don't know how big they really get. If I had to guess, it's way bigger than I can imagine. And also, how am I to dictate what's going on the big picture of what supernovas are? I'm an ant with a brain this big, compared to. So I can't answer that. Is there a God? I don't know. I mean, maybe there's always been matter and there's this thing that happens and it's not even a God. It's a mechanic that's just, right? Or maybe there is some sort of supreme thing that's beyond any understanding. I can't answer that, and I don't really need to answer it. Do I believe there's a deity floating in the sky going, I'm going to help him, I'm going to punish him. Ooh, gay people, punish them. I don't think that. It's ridiculous. Sounds like something that a human would come up with. I always thought, here's a good analogy. I came up with this a while ago. Imagine we saw a bunch of dogs, and they were a little more advanced, and we saw them like in a circle, and they were walking in a circle with like little doggy totems, and they had little dogs, and it was like, oh my God, they're worshiping their doggy god. Look how cute that is. To me, that's what the deity thing is. It's such a funny thing. It's like, yeah, that's what humans would come up with. So I consider myself atheist agnostic. So what is a theistic agnostic? Agnostic, is there a God? I don't know. Do you believe in God? Yes. Now that sounds weird. That sounds like Pascal's wager. That's what that sounds like. Do you believe in God? Yes. Is there a God? I don't know. Maybe. That's Pascal's wager. Yeah. That's it. Peter just wrote it out perfect. Look, agnostic implies that you recognize there is no possible way to understand or comprehend the possibilities of the universe in an objective way. And I like that definition. I don't know where you got that, if that's yours or something, but I like the word universe in there. That is the key word, Peter. You don't have to put the word God in there. You can get rid of it. We can understand the universe, right? But it gets to be just like the molecules. I mean, how far does it go? I don't know. So, Pascal's wager. Pascal's wager, in a nutshell, is, do you believe in God or not? And you go, well, if all of these books are right, that I'm going to suffer forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and burn in hell for eternity just for not believing in something. Maybe. I don't really think it's real. But what the heck? I'll just go with it. Might as well. What is there to lose, right? Except for my soul. That's the argument. Well, there's a lot of, I don't know. What is there to lose? But why would you do that with that wager with that and not other things? It just doesn't, it just feels weird and icky. And if God's real and he's sitting in the throne going, whoa, that dude's just believing in me because even though he really doesn't believe in me, he's just going through the motions. What would God think of that? Like right now, I don't believe in a God. I really don't. I'm like, if I look up to the sky, if you put a gun to my head and go, believe there's a deity floating in the sky, believe it, I'd be like, okay, I believe it. Great. Please, I forgive my sins, God. I guess the debate would be, well, he would know what's in your heart. Right? They say in like the rehab stuff, fake it till you make it. So at what point does the fake flip to real? And then your life is saved. Makes no sense to me. Oh, you did. Oh, Peter, you should like quote that and save it in a thing. That's a really I like that definition a lot. I'm big on definitions. I sit around and write definitions and look them up all the time. Because the definition changes your thoughts on it. There are verses to deal with what, Andrew? Tell me, please, because I love this stuff. God knows what's in your heart. Yeah. That's what you're referring to, I'm pretty sure. I've seen them. Yeah, God knows how to read your real thoughts. But here's the problem with that. If God is all omniscient and omnipotent, does he know what holds in the future? If he knows what holds in the future, then he knows it's going to be hard for me to accept a man floating in the sky, especially when a human wrote it down in a book, even if it's, quote, divinely inspired. Lilith has something cool in here. Oh, okay. Yeah, Lilith is referring to the people letting people do their own religion. Yeah. Okay, cool. Very cool. Hey, Ruby, thank you so much. The tips mean everything. Believe just to say you believe. Yeah, right. I get it. Yeah, I've heard that before. Thank you, Ruby, for the donation. It all helps. So, to me, there's a problem. If God knew that he's going to plant the tree in the Garden of Eden and humans were going to fall, why would he put the tree there? Free will, if he's like, I'm going to give them free will, but I know they're going to mess it up and then I have to punish them and then I got to, doesn't make sense. Yes, Lanny just said something very cool. I have trouble understanding people who say they choose to believe in a God or anything for that matter. Belief implies your mind perceives no other option to me. Correct. Oh yeah, God does know the future. So if God knows the future, it makes me not believe in him even. It makes me not believe in the Abrahamic religions even more. It throws a big wrench in the engine. Massive wrench. It's done. Like, I can't. If God's omniscient and omnipotent, it sounds so human and flawed, the system. And I always say this to any religious people. If you can explain this to me so it makes sense, I'll go to church tomorrow and get on my knees. God was bored, made earth, made man in his own image. Finger, it says image, so I'm guessing God has eyes and ears and stuff, or the way we think. Gives them free will, and then they disobey his orders. So he curses them for all eternity. And then eventually he feels bad that he did that. He's going to give him one more chance. So first he makes him sacrifice a bunch of animals because he likes blood and death of animals. He likes that humans do that for him. So he goes, all right, we're going to do one more blood sacrifice. I'm going to send myself in human form as my son. And he's going to be sacrifice himself to stop the problem he himself originally created. That's the thing I can't. To me, the Scientology story makes more sense. And that's not good. The Mormon one too is more linear. Even though that one has the Christian thing mixed in too. There's so if I'm saying the Scientology story makes more sense, well, it was written by a science fiction author. It might be a reason. I never understood the editing of the Bible either. The Old Testament has 2 Genesis origin stories with contradictory things. The argument is, no, they're just filling in the gaps of it, but it's not. If you read it, it looks like it was written twice with different input. An atheist Gnostic doesn't make sense to me. Is there a God? Yeah, pretty sure. Do you believe in him? Nah. That doesn't make any sense. If you're pretty sure there's a God, how do you not believe in him unless you're trying not to? A theistic Gnostic would be, is there a God? Yeah. Do you believe in him? Yeah. That's what Andrew, you would be, I'm guessing. You're a theistic Gnostic. You have the knowledge to see God. And I've seen a lot of debates where the religious guy debating the atheist does the whole, there's a God, you're just not admitting it trick kind of a thing. And I'm telling you right now, if you put a gun to my head and said, believe in God, it ain't going to happen. It's not wired that way. I really don't. Did I do a show? Yeah, I've done shows on the hardwiring of the theistic parts of our mind. I definitely aren't so, it doesn't work in my head. It's just not there. I would say I'm more of a religious guy than a spiritual guy in that sense. People reject things they know exist, happen all the time. They do. But not like this. I'm trying to think of something I know exist that I reject. I'm trying to think of an example of where I might flip on that one. I've been looking, Eric, for an e-meter for a while. I'm on a thing where I get them when they're on cheap, and they get bought up quick when they're cheap. They're like $400 or more for the good ones. And I want one with a cool color. I want like a aquamarine blue or something. Here we go. And there are Christians, Lilith says, and there are Christian sects that believe we're saved by grace, not deeds, right? And God gives us grace when we're going to have when we're born. Yeah. And if we don't have enough, we can't be saved. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but we should still be good, but it won't help. Yeah, it's a very weird notion. Well, it's not weird if you see what's going on behind that idea, which is somebody trying to control somebody else. That's it. Election results exist, but people reject them. But that's not a... Yeah, I see what you're saying there. Yeah, that would be an example. But for me, the God one doesn't work. Why? Help me here, people. Why does the God one seem different? It seems very different. I mean, God, we're dealing with literally an invisible an entity. like a floating invisible entity that has humans write books about them. It's very weird. Well, okay. Now, why isn't there a lot of famous atheists in antiquity? Why? Persecution? Maybe. I personally think, and this is from my own thoughts and reading, and I would say the reason why is because Charles Darwin didn't show up. Well, Andrew, I don't believe in free will anymore. Free will to me is a weird term now. I don't like using it, and I don't like the word fate either. I think that's a little weird too. As I get older, I call it, I like deterministic is a better one. When Darwin showed up, threw out his evolutionary theory, and rocked the world with it, it did something new. It unlocked some thoughts. And, Calvinism? Might be. I love how smart my room is here on world religions and all the nuance to it all. Interesting. So, I do think that the early atheistic types still were like, clearly there's some sort of mastermind that invented the eye. Because if you go back in time only like a few hundred years ago, they really didn't understand what was going on with our bodies and how we worked and how it grows. Oh, we're going to get into Epicurus here in a second. Oh, yes, we are. Epicurus is the closest one. But Epicurus is more of an agnostic too. We'll talk about him in a second. I'm a fan. Look at TJ, Thomas Jefferson, and Ben Franklin, and a lot of the Masonic type of free thinkers. Most of them weren't atheists, they were deists. And deism in a nutshell is God made everything, a God, a creator of sorts, and then he took off. He's like, boop, he hit the on button and it just runs and that's it. He's sitting somewhere watching. Does not intervene. If I had to believe in God, that's what I would do. That's how I would look at it. That's what I would pick. The Thomas Jefferson notion. And it's funny that Thomas Jefferson rewrote the Bible to his own standards. And you can order it on Amazon, the Jefferson Bible. And I always joke, imagine if Obama went on TV and was like, folks, I like the Bible, but I don't like the BS. So I decided to cut it out. I rewrote it, and HarperCollins is publishing it, and you can get it. People would lose their minds. I love it. Lanny Harris, quote of the night, Epicurus is the Rodney Mullen of philosophy. Yeah, it's like, for those of you that don't know skateboarding, it would be like all the other philosophers are, they're good, and they're coming up with all this cool stuff. And then this guy shows up that's kind of weird and different, and he's doing his philosophy, and they're all like, what the heck's that? What's going on over there? That's a little weird. And then they look a little closer, and they're like, wow, that guy's onto something. That is cool. That's Rodney Mullen. Rodney Mullen didn't do... Yeah, to be a Mason, you have to believe in an architect of the universe of sorts. Yeah. Yeah, so Darwin shows up, and he's like, look. Oh, so the TJ, they just couldn't wrap their head around how we evolved. And that's fair. I mean, my gosh, this is crazy. So, fast forward to Darwin. Darwin shows up, and he's like, actually, look, there's a train here. And anybody that doesn't believe in evolution, I mean, my gosh, the evidence is so much now. It's like, it's not just on a biological scale, it's on a chemical scale, it goes deep. And if anybody can disprove it, they're going to win a really big Nobel Prize in science. Science is awesome because you get rewarded for proving somebody wrong. Unless the internet's against you, which does happen occasionally. Science is really crazy. I'm a full-blown science follower, right? But I can see, because I'm a magician, of how you can take something that's hard fact and put a frame and show it as something else. Think about that for a second. That's what magic is. But yeah, science rules all. It's the best system we've ever had and maybe will ever have. It's got a built-in baloney detector. Yeah, it does. The problem with science now, I would say, is when it's getting corporate funding. It gets a little weird. It changes. There's not like one group of, we're the governors of science. No, they're scientists and they get hired by corporations. So this is where it gets a little, and you have to really pay attention. All right, here we go. This is where we're going to get into the early, okay, let's talk about Epicurus. Epicurus is definitely early atheist. There's another guy, it's so weird, Diagoras of Melos. So wait, let's go to Diagoras of Melos first before we get to Epicurus, because he's 5th century BCE. That's a long time ago. He was like a poet and he did some politics and he was arrested for blasphemy. He didn't like the gods. He was an outspoken atheist, and one of the stories I found was he was near some area where there was a bunch of shipwrecks and they had like memorials. People were putting things in memorials for all the people that survived and the gods protected. And he said, oh, wow, look at how many memorials there are. He goes, do you realize how many more there would be? Imagine what it would look like if you put up the memorials for all the people that the gods killed from this. It would be a lot more. It doesn't make sense. What are you celebrating here? Funding sources and yeah. Yeah, that's the problem with science, and his money gets involved. So this guy here was basically an outspoken atheist. There's one story where he like burned a Hercules statue that was made of wood, and his outspokenness got him ousted. He got basically banished and ostracized. So Epicurus had some really interesting notions about gods and religion. Epicurus really did believe that all we have is matter and space. And our bodies are made up of these things. There's like little particles and space. He was kind of close to what atoms are, you know, in a weird way. Like, and I think, okay. Okay, here's where it gets neat. Epicurus' version of the Greek gods, and he's 300 BC, 325, I believe. The gods' purpose was to be exemplifying in their own existence to the highest Epicurean ideals. He was like, yeah, we have gods, but don't look at them as like real. Look at them as just stories to help us, which is what I do, right? And his Epicurean ideals were ataraxian in myth form. Ataraxia is the notion, is the Epicurean Stoic version of nirvana. It's mental tranquility. It's, I'm tranquil. I'm not happy. I'm not sad. I'm okay with what's going on. I'm not suffering and I'm not freaking out happy. So he thought these gods were that in mythological form. They were ataraxian. They were these ideals. And he thought that our goal as humans was to get to ataraxia, this tranquility, like a god. It's like you're becoming a god. Sound familiar? Science tells us that if the statue was made of wood, then it would weigh the same as a duck and float on water. Therefore, the statue was a witch and should be burnt. I love it. Yeah, it's good. I love you, Bill. That was a good one. Yeah. I love it. That's a good one. Um, yeah, yeah. Even Epicurus thought the gods were like a comic book. He really did. Wait, hold on. Let me see this. I don't know if I marked this. This is kind of cool. So this is a book about Epicurus, and it's really great. It's for those of you that want to look this up, the original title of this book was The Philosophy of Epicurus, Letters, Doctrines, and Parallel Passages from Lucretius. They changed the name to The Art of Happiness. They gave it a very modern, feel-good, almost, as I say, toxic positivity title. I don't like it. It should be called what the original title was. But anyway, the author's pretty darn good, though. Well, the foreword and who wrote the introduction? Hold on. Because the introduction's really... Oh, yeah. George Strodach. Really good writer here. And I don't know what year this book came out. It came out in 1963. Wow. Well, here's what he says. This is him writing, not Epicurus. The nature of the gods. Voltaire once maliciously remarked that God is the noblest work of man, but as is well known, the gods of classical Greek religion were ignoble projections of the human imagination. Ignoble, not noble. They were lecherous. They were lechers, haters, fighters, avengers, all in superhuman style. Not so the gods of Epicurus. These beings are compatible, are completely non-anthropomorphic. They have been stripped of all human frailties and cleaned up beyond recognition. They do not walk the earth and have bastard children, nor do they reside on Mount Olympus and pursue their personal feuds and infighting. Epicurus had transported them to remote interstellar space, where they become beautiful symbols of calm and repose, absorbed in contemplating their own unalloyed perfection, unable to receive human worship or to listen to human supplications. That's great. I love this. Yeah, you know what I like about this? It sounds like H.P. Lovecraft's version of the gods. They weren't spiritual. They were real. They're almost aliens. And that's what the Epicurus kind of looked at. And religion, in Epicurus's mind, produced fear, which goes against ataraxia. Yeah. Now check this out. I wanted to go into a little notion here about why talking about atheism is a problem. Did you guys know that the original Pledge of Allegiance to the Pledge of the Allegiance of the United States, that's Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of the Allegiance. It's such a hard thing to say. It was written by a priest, and he did not include the word God. Nope. Not happening. It got included later when we were starting to fight the communists, and we were trying to scare people that the communists were godless, we are godful. So they added it in. So the original guy that wrote it was religious and didn't put it in. Kind of interesting. So I wanted to talk a little bit about discrimination in the world about atheists. Now, a lot of people don't know these facts, but check this out. God dang it. I always lose one page of notes. I swear to God, I'll write 5 pages of notes, and one of them's like, I don't know where it is. I remember writing it. It's not here. Oh, yeah. Here we go. In 13 countries, atheism is a crime. I'll say it again. 13 countries, atheism, illegal. That's not good, folks. That's wild. That means something. Why would they make it illegal? Why is that illegal? Non-belief is illegal in 13 countries. It gives me goosebumps just saying that. 77 countries are basically way discriminatory towards atheists. 77 countries. The Pope blames atheism for the Nazi crimes, even though every single Nazi had a belt buckle that said God is with us, and Hitler was not an atheist. And when you poll people, take a guess which group is the most discriminated. Think about this. You already know the answer. I don't know why I'm pausing. If you poll everybody on earth of who they don't like, atheist wins. Even the people that are super discriminated, they'll pick atheists. Everybody hates atheists. Now, why is that? I think whenever you tell somebody they're not allowed to talk about anything or show it, it proves there's something wrong, which is why I don't like this whole censorship fact-checking thing going online all the time. It means something's wrong. It means somebody's hiding something. I also think that an atheist, in its true form, meaning like somebody like me, where I'm like, I don't believe in a man floating in the sky. If we did evolve, and we are wired to mostly believe in a man floating in the sky, and then I show up, and my brain's not what you could say I'm deficient. The theistic could go, I feel bad for you. You can't see it. That's cool. But when the atheist shows up and goes, I think it's all baloney, what does it do to the theist? It flares in the subconscious. His doubt kicks on. And there's where it's like, don't like it. Feels bad, causes cognitive dissonance. They point their finger at you and scream. Ooh, what's this? Oh yeah, in God we trust. Yeah. Let's see here. Is illegal? I mean, I'm telling you right now, the only two things I can think of that are like full-blown illegal just being would be, well, there's nowhere on earth where if you're just a woman, they kill you. That's crazy. Or, but there are places that if you're gay, they'll kill you. It's illegal. There's a death penalty. Trans, gay, done. But don't believe in a deity. You're an apostate. You stop believing in God. They're going to punish you or kill you. I mean, I just can't process that. There was something I was going to read off my phone that blew my mind about an atheist thing. Oh, yeah, here we go. Atheists and those accused of defection from an official religion may be subject to discrimination and persecution in many Muslim countries. All right, you ready? Here's the death penalty countries. Afghanistan, Iran, Malaysia, Maldives, I always pronounce it wrong. Mauritania, Nigeria, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Libya, and the UAE, and Yemen. Now, here's where it gets even wackier. This is where it gets really frightening. Hold on. I can't believe I can't find this. I have a list here of the USA, the states. So, oh man, I can't find this. See, I should have copied it out and written it down. In the USA, hold on, did I save this? No. Ignoble. Nope. Hold on. Religious. Man, I was trying to find this. Nope. Oh, yeah, here we go. Discrimination. Oh, here it is. I found it. You're going to freak out. You ready for here's some crazy laws in America? Arkansas, Article 19, Section 1. No person who denies the being of a god shall hold any office in civil departments of this state. Maryland, that no religious test ought ever be required as a qualification for any office other than a declaration of the belief in the existence of God. Mississippi, no person who denies the existence of a supreme being shall hold any office of this state. The following North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Pennsylvania, no person who acknowledges the being of a god and a future state of rewards and punishment shall, on account of his religious sentiments, be disqualified to hold any... Okay, this is just nauseating and vomitose. That there are laws in this USA, it just shows you people don't trust atheists. They don't trust. If you're a theist in here, I'm curious of why. To me, it should be the other way around, because if you believe in God, which one? Because some of them tell you to kill people. So to me, this is really weird. It's funny that when they wrote all these laws, they were thinking of the Abrahamic God, which also tells you to kill people sometimes. Yeah, it's kind of insane. And I really wanted to throw that out there so people can, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a great chat tonight. Yeah, I'm just baffled. I think if you are a religious type, if you're a Muslim or a Christian or you're Jewish and you actually believe in a supreme being, I just hope that you realize that not everybody does. Down to a really hard wiring to me. Even as a very little kid, when people were talking about this stuff, I was just like, oh, this is weird. And I felt like that it was like this game going on that if I didn't participate in and kind of fake it, I was going to get ostracized in a manner. And it's true. Well, Jesus tells us to love, not to kill people. Okay. But his dad... I mean, I'm not going to get into it. I could go off on that one for a while. Well, okay, I think if you're an atheist... I agree, Lilith. I think a lot more atheists and just follow suit because they don't want to deal with the consequences. I've met people that are like in Christian music and stuff and don't say anything that they don't believe anymore just because it's a scene and they're making money. Well, okay, the prison population, yeah, atheist is only 0.5%. One of the reasons is if you're religious in jail, you get bonuses. You get benefits, you get thumbs up, you're more apt to get probation and parole. It's kind of weird. I do know that religious... So I watched a documentary on Hasidic Jews in New York City and the people that leave. And a woman, there's a great movie, I forget the name of it. It's called like... it was on Netflix at one point. It's a documentary about people that leave the faith of Hasidic Judaism. And the woman who was being beaten and abused got out. The entire group of Orthodox Hasidim in New York raised money for the guy to get custody of his kids. And in the court of law in New York, it favors the religious parent, not the non-religious parent. It's very weird stuff. I don't get it. I think it's a little bit like... if you're wired to believe in a man floating in the sky, it's very hard to not have cognitive dissonance when the atheist shows up. And therefore, you want to kill them. People want to hurt atheists. Look up religious people talking about atheists and the interviews, and they're just like, they're disgusting, they should be killed. I've seen videos where like little kids are like, yeah, atheists aren't humans, they should be shot, and you're like, it's really weird. But it makes sense. If you're hardwired to believe in a man floating in the sky and it gives you comfort and feeling and it gives you a framework to live, it gives you substance. When the guy shows up and goes, bullshit, your brain goes, choke, kill. Oh yeah, what is evil? Yeah, I don't believe in good or evil. I think they're words that we invented to describe states of being. Evil, I like the definition. Evil is anything you don't like. And I believe Anton LaVey is the first guy to phrase it that simply. Ben Franklin thought people... Well, okay. Lilith says, even Ben Franklin thought people should go to church because it kept people from being good behavior. I kind of agree with him on that, though, because I think certain people can't handle the other. And so if that appeases it, great. But then the bad side is if that scene gets to be too powerful, then it gets weird. Yeah, I don't think we're all hardwired to be atheists. I don't. I think most people are hardwired to do the other, which is why most people are theistic. Yeah, it's very weird. Wow. Whew. Dude, that was a mouthful. I've been talking nonstop for an hour and 10 minutes here, and whew. I like the episodes where I don't even need to really look at my notes much. I read some stuff today that I really like. If you want to go to there's a great wiki page on it's Wikipedia discrimination against atheists. Whoever wrote that wiki page did a good job. It's a lot. It even has the map where it shows you where everybody gets executed for apostasy. I believe most of them are all Muslim countries. I don't know why North Korea is not on there. North Korea should be on the list. North Korea is a theocracy. North Korea is the only necrocracy. It's the only country that has a necrotic government. Meaning, the president isn't Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-il. It's the dead granddad. And they have a special room they pray to get their advice. Just like the Mormons go into a room to get wisdom. Very interesting. And on that note, wow, we had a good group tonight. If you're new to the show, yes, donations are cool. I'm going to read some of these comments in a second. They go to the show. They pay for this channel. I do have upkeep payments, and I'm trying to get some stuff. Let's see. What does it say here? I am fine with people believing in anything. I'm not okay when you tell me to. Yeah, me too. I think... Yeah, I don't have anything against theistic people at all. It's a little weird that, yeah. Yeah, atheism has, yes, Bill M says this. Hey, what's up, Bill M? If this is the Bill M I'm friends with, what's up, brother? Atheism has thankfully become immensely more socially acceptable than a generation ago, thanks to, like, the Hitchens and the Dawkins, and, people hardly blink an eye when I say I'm an atheist. Yeah, me too. Yeah, folks, Clownvis is on. Follow Clownvis. He's a great guy, and I'm probably going to watch his show too tonight. Yeah, you're right, and I'm glad. I'm going to end on that note, because that's a breath of air. It's not as bad as it was. It's getting better. But I don't know if people know this. When Hillary was running for president, the DNC got busted, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, there was a memo sent out. This was part of the WikiLeaks stuff. This is why the Democrats hate Julian Assange. I'm a fan of Julian. I think we need people like him. But the Democrats hate him because they think he was just going after Hillary to get Trump in, which is crazy. Because if he had dirt on Trump, he would have released it. Believe me. They released that the Democrats sent a memo saying, hey, everybody, make sure they know that Bernie's an atheist. They were trying to promote it so that Hillary had an advantage. So instead of firing Debbie Wasserman Schultz, they moved her to Florida to run Hillary's failed campaign. Horrible. So the people that we think are on your side usually aren't. Yeah, the Clownvis community is awesome. Clownvis is a good friend of mine. He's an amazing performer. He's an amazing person, and his channel's great, and I love it. It's really fun, and yeah, he's on tonight. Just look up Clownvis on YouTube. You'll find him. Nope, he's on in an hour. Folks, I'm like, I need to drink another glass of water. I'm going to bounce out of here fast. Look, we're at episode 69. This channel rocks. I've got a really great crowd in here. They donate. Look at these crazy donations I've been getting. You guys rule. This is how I'm paying for my stuff. I do this full time now, so kick butt. And I'm going to bounce out of here. I'll see you all on Friday. I think it's going to be on Taiwan. I think it is. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to find my Taiwan pictures. I am. I know where they are. Okay. I think I know where they are. So we're going to have a good show, and I'm also going to give away something awesome. So, yeah, folks, party on. Enjoy your Wednesday. Be nice to your atheist friends. And, yeah, keep on thinking. Keep on asking questions, and I'll see you here on Friday. Party on.